So this is the texture linker feature for the FBX editor asset. Now the texture linker's main function is to link missing textures for embedded materials in an FBX. So each FBX comes with embedded materials. And usually you extract these like with this, but it's often useful to directly input embedded materials. So let's do that for this guy. Go to Tools, FBX Editor, and we can see obviously he has no textures assigned with his materials. We'll go to the Texture Linker tab, and we'll have a few options. The main option is Auto Link Textures. And what this will do is it will search within a folder you give it. Note the folder you give it is important because you don't want the auto linker to search for textures in different assets. And the reason for this is because the way it works is it tries to map the material name with the texture names. So for example, it'll look for the embedded materials name is hands, and it'll look for textures within the Tails factory folder that contain hands and albedo, or hands and color, hands metallic, hands specular, and that's how it links. So it's mostly linking by naming convention. So anyways, now that we got the folder, let's go ahead and auto link the textures. So we successfully linked 63 of 112. And there we go. As you can see, it was able to link a majority of the textures. Let's go to hands just to show again. Note this material, this came with the asset. We can delete it, it's not important. But you can see the naming convention of these textures are important. Hand albedo, hand metallic. As long as it contains common names, it'll try to link it. And we can overwrite the textures directly. So let's say for some reason it picked up the wrong hand texture, but in this case it picked up the right one, but you can directly modify it. Obviously let's undo that. As we can see, the hair and the face are incorrect. Let's go to the hair. Let's go to the face. So let's see why. What I'd recommend first doing is extract the materials. Extracting the materials gives you a lot more control over the material settings. So let's do that. And what this will do is it'll create a materials folder in the same directory as your FBX. So we have issues with the head. Let's try to figure out what's going on. So we'll go into our textures. Textures. This part does require some manual searching if it doesn't automatically find it. But in this case, it should be organized. Okay, so the issue with this is that the material and the texture name don't match. So the textures are face instead of head. So we have a couple options. We can either rename these to head 04 to match the material name, or because we extracted it, we can edit our material name to face. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to try to relink it. And there we go, successfully relinked this time. So we also have an issue with our hair. These are settings within the materials, not necessarily, it seems like the textures got correctly assigned. So let's go to our hair. And now we can directly modify the inputs. So the issue was it's missing some alpha clipping. It should be transparent. And there we go. Now it looks good. One more issue. This should be quick. We just want to remove emission for this guy. So as we can see, I successfully linked most of the embedded materials with the textures. Now, before you exit out, what I suggest doing is we can see that these edits did affect our original FBX without saving. That's something I should have said earlier. If you use this tool, it will affect your FBXs or directly change your textures. That's why there is a Restore Original Textures button. So if I click this, it'll bring me back to the version of the model without any textures. But I don't want to do that right now. What I want to do is, because we extract the materials, but it hasn't fully recognized the materials that we extracted. Specifically, it's not saving the hair settings and the emission settings, because if you click the hair here, okay, actually it is correct, but it's not going to save correctly. So what we want to do is just, if you want to apply the materials to the FBX itself, we need to remap them. So just do this option from Models Material, start to remap, and it'll take all of the materials from here by name and automatically map them. And then obviously we have the face that we need to manually remap. But then once we apply, we can exit out. And our baker will have all its materials correctly mapped. So that's more or less those features for the texture linker. Let me know if you have any questions. That is all.